Sure. So my name is Lisa Mendez. I live in Texas, and I work for IQVIA Government Solutions. My SAS background is pretty varied in regards to the type of industries I've been in. I kind of started out as a PL1 SAS programmer on the mainframe. So I've come a long way. I started out in student achievement testing and then moved into clinical trials. I kind of bopped around a little bit, did medical equipment sales and forecasting. I then spent about 5 years working with the military health system data. I dealt with reporting and expense data for TRICARE, and had a great time working with all of that. Then moved into patient-level data as well. So started working with all of the claims data and the military health type of patient data. Then I also spent some time with a retail grocery company and learned all about retail transactional data, which is large and huge, which was a great experience. Then went kind of back into government data for military, did pharmacy data, and now I kind of work with different healthcare data. It's more what I call private pharmacy claims, provider claims, any kind of healthcare claims data. And I work with clients such as the CDC, the FDA, the DEA, and that type of thing. I've also written a couple of SAS, just a handful of papers dealing with SAS, different base SAS programming types of tips and tricks kind of things. For regional user groups and for SAS Global Forum, and that's pretty much my career path and span and my, what I know about SAS. I've been using SAS for almost 20 years now.
Wow, great experience. 20 years, that's a great experience. And also, on SAS Global Forum 2020, you will be very involved. Could you tell us a little bit about this involvement?
Absolutely. So back in 2017, I was chosen for the SAS Global Forum 2020 chair position. It's a kind of 3-year prep or 2-year prep with 1 year really getting into all of the details of the conference. So I've been on the SAS Global Forum conference team for quite a few years now. I also volunteered quite a bit and learned a lot about it. But I got involved mainly because of the networking and the people and realizing that this conference has taught me so much. I kind of felt like I wanted to give back a little bit, not just presenting, but also trying to find different ways to inform other people about all the different content regarding SAS and how everybody learns a little differently, so I kind of wanted to get in there and help with all the different programs, help people get there with the awards programs. So that's really how I kind of got involved. I went to one, I was overwhelmed, and then I was hooked ever since. I've been to 14 SAS Global Forums. So.
According to you, what is the top 3 tips or techniques that can help someone to be a top SAS user?
So for me, I think that the first biggest thing, whether you're SAS or any programming, but SAS is a big thing, is really knowing your data. The more you know your data, how your data is collected, how your data is utilized and used, and all the caveats about the data, that's going to help you be a better SAS programmer or a statistician or anything that you're doing. Because you'll know the data, you'll know all the caveats that go along with it. When you do some analysis, if the analysis looks a little bit funny, you'll know that. So really knowing your data, I think, is the first biggest tip I can tell people. A lot of times you just kind of jump in and you start programming and you start doing your procedures, and you're not really understanding that data as well as you should. Second, I would highly recommend that you read SAS papers, blogs, anything dealing with SAS. There are so many different parts and pieces. So the more papers you can read from experienced programmers or experienced statisticians or data scientists, I think you're going to really teach yourself a lot of good things that you'll need. And even if you don't really utilize a particular SAS application, I would encourage you to learn about it, learn about what's going on in other industries and other fields, because you're going to want to be up to date and in the know, because that way, if your company changes or you change companies, you will have a lot of that knowledge before you start doing the work. And I think that's always important, is to keep up with technology, keep up with what's going on in the data science realm or the statistical realm, and keep yourself forward thinking. I think that's always really good. And then, of course, I would always say for the third tip is to attend a SAS conference, whether it be a local user group or the SAS Global Forum. I think that networking is so important. A lot of us are kind of introverted, and it's not something that we necessarily like to do, but it's important that you get out there, talk to other SAS programmers, see what they're doing, get a network together in case you have questions. You can call on people. And I tell you, we're a very small group of people, even though we're pretty big. We're really tight-knit, and everybody likes to help each other out. And so I think really getting into a conference and networking is really important, and it'll really help you, I think, in your current work and in the future in your career.
Wow,
Those are my tips.
great advice. First, reading. The first one is knowing your data. The second one is reading SAS paper. And the third one is attending to SAS conference, global conference or national conference to grow your knowledge as well your network. Great advice.
Exactly.
So Lisa, we know someone with your experience have been using a lot of SAS proc, like proc print, proc frex, and we have more than 1,000 SAS proc. Do you have any favorite one you think more useful and you use very often?
I do. So I use a lot of procedures, especially the ones that are descriptive, but the one I use the most, I actually went and looked at all my programs and saw, what do I use the most in regards to procs? I use ProcSQL the most. I resisted ProcSQL for a very long time. I didn't think I needed it. I was very first in the data step, and I thought I could do everything with the data, which, you can. But when I decided to do my very first SAS paper, I wanted to, get out there and start doing that. I teamed up with somebody, and he gave me great advice. He said, well, what do you want to learn? And I said, I want to learn ProcSQL, but I just don't know where to start. And he says, well, let's start there. What is your first issue that you have that you could utilize ProcSQL for? I said, well, I heard that joins are really easy, and I use the merge statement a lot. So he said, well, let's start there. So that's where I jumped in and started learning ProcSQL joins, and got really used to it, really liked it. And from there on, I just started utilizing it. And then I started reading papers and learning that you can use ProcSQL for so much more than just joining. And so now I use it for everything from creating macro variables to renaming variables to joining. I use it to join a lot, but that knowing that the power of ProcSQL is there, that's now my favorite, and I use it quite often. So ProcSQL, yay!
Oh, great. Very powerful proc because we can do so many things with. That's wonderful. Any closing word, Lisa?
No, I just think that with SAS, for all the SAS users out there, I don't know, when they first started, sometimes it can get really frustrating. It's not like other programming languages, but it really is fun, and all of the SAS users are such a good group of people that I think we're really special. So thank you very much for having me.